The right way to reattract a woman who pulled away. When we face the challenge of reattracting someone who has pulled away, it's easy to fall into the trap of focusing on tactics. But we need to step back and consider something more fundamental. We need to start with why. Why did she pull away? It's not enough to simply ask, what can I do to get her back? We have to start by asking why. When we understand the reason behind her distancing herself, we can begin to address the root causes. Maybe she felt unheard or overlooked. Maybe it was the way we communicated, or perhaps something personal she was going through. When we know why, we can approach the situation with a deeper sense of empathy. Once we've understood why, we turn inward. Reattraction isn't just about saying the right words or doing the right things. It's about self-reflection. We need to ask ourselves, what role have I played in this dynamic? Are there things within us we need to change or grow in? Relationships are a two-way street, and we must be willing to evolve and grow just as much as we hope she will. Now, let's talk about the core of relationships: trust and respect. These two elements are the bedrock of any strong partnership. If she pulled away, it might be because she no longer felt safe or respected. Trust isn't rebuilt overnight, and it certainly isn't rebuilt by forcing a reconciliation. Consistency in your actions and a deep respect for her boundaries and her emotions is the only way forward. Next, we must turn to communication. It's not about saying the right thing to win her back, it's about listening. It's about understanding what she needs and how she feels. People don't just want to hear that you miss them, they want to know that you understand their emotions and needs. This is a critical step in healing and ultimately restoring the bond. Patience is key, there's no rush. Healing takes time, and the reattraction process requires space for both individuals to grow. If we rush it, we risk pushing her further away. Space and time allow both people to reflect and realign with what they truly want. It's essential to respect her process and be patient. Finally, we must always show authenticity. Consistency is about more than repeating the same actions. It's about showing that your behavior is in line with your true intention. This is where many people get it wrong. It's easy to say we've changed, but it's harder to demonstrate it. The reattraction process will only work if your actions speak louder than your words. In conclusion, reattracting someone isn't about manipulation or grand gestures. It's about self-awareness, patience, and understanding. It's about taking a step back to reflect on the why behind their actions and allowing space for growth, both yours and hers. When we approach reattraction with respect, empathy, and authenticity, we're not just trying to get someone back. We're trying to build a stronger, more genuine connection, one that can last. Start with the why, and the rest will follow. Before we even think about how to reattract someone who has pulled away, we need to take a step back and understand the why behind it. Too often people focus on what to do next, what texts to send, what actions to take, what changes to make, without fully grasping the underlying reasons for why she distanced herself in the first place. If we don't understand the root cause, any actions we take will be superficial at best and counterproductive at worst. People don't just pull away randomly. There is always a reason, whether it is spoken or unspoken, obvious or subtle. The challenge is that in relationships, the reasons someone pulls away are not always directly communicated. Many times, people express their needs or frustrations in ways that are not verbal. Instead of saying, "I feel unappreciated," someone may simply start responding less to messages. Instead of stating, "I don't feel emotionally safe," they might withdraw from conversations and physical closeness. This is why listening beyond words is crucial. What was her energy like before she pulled away? Were there moments where she seemed distant, unheard, or frustrated? Was there a shift in how she communicated, how present she was, or how she reacted to certain situations? These subtle cues often provide more insight than words alone. We also have to be open to the possibility that the reason she pulled away may not be about us at all. Sometimes people distance themselves because of personal struggles, stress at work, family issues, personal growth, or emotional overwhelm. Not everything is about what we did or didn't do. However, even if her withdrawal is related to external factors, how we respond to it still matters. If we react with neediness, pressure, or frustration, we risk pushing her further away. But if we respond with patience, understanding, and respect for her space, we create a safe emotional environment for reconnection. Understanding the why also means being honest with ourselves. Are we truly listening to her needs, or are we only concerned with getting her back? Are we willing to acknowledge our own behaviors and how they may have contributed to her pulling away? It's uncomfortable to do this level of self-reflection, but growth only happens when we are willing to face the truth. If she pulled away because she felt unheard, then no amount of chasing will bring her back. Only genuine changes in how we listen and communicate will. If she pulled away because she felt pressured, then the solution is to give her space, not to demand clarity or push for immediate reconnection. Reattracting someone isn't about convincing them to come back. It's about becoming the kind of person they would naturally want to be around. This starts with self-reflection and personal growth. When someone pulls away, our first instinct is often to focus outward, on what they're thinking, what they're feeling, and what we can do to change their mind. But the most powerful thing we can do in these moments is to turn inward and ask ourselves, who am I becoming? Personal growth isn't just about improving in ways we think will impress someone else. It's about evolving for the sake of being a better version of ourselves, regardless of whether that person returns. If we only change with the expectation of winning someone back, those changes won't be sustainable and they won't be genuine. True growth is about becoming more self-aware, emotionally mature, and stable in our own identity, not for the sake of someone else, but because we owe it to ourselves to be better. One of the most important things to reflect on is the dynamic of the relationship before she pulled away. Were there patterns of miscommunication, unmet expectations, or emotional distance? Were there moments where we ignored red flags, both in ourselves and in the relationship? It takes courage to be brutally honest with ourselves. It's easy to place blame on the other person and assume they just changed or lost interest, but every relationship is a two-way street. If she pulled away, there was likely something missing, whether it was emotional connection, trust, or a sense of excitement and fulfillment. Instead of fearing this realization, we can use it as an opportunity to grow. Growth isn't just about recognizing our flaws, it's also about reinforcing our strengths. It's about cultivating confidence, purpose, and emotional independence. A person who is secure in themselves is naturally attractive. They don't need constant validation and they don't chase, because they know their worth. Confidence isn't arrogance, it's a deep sense of self-assurance that comes from knowing who you are, what you stand for, and what you bring to the table. This kind of confidence can only come from doing the inner work, developing new skills, pursuing passions, strengthening friendships, and working on emotional intelligence. When we focus on self-growth, we create a shift in energy. Instead of radiating neediness or desperation, we begin to exude security and fulfillment. This change is often what sparks reattraction naturally. People are drawn to those who are passionate about life, who are growing, and who bring positive energy into every interaction. If she sees that you are evolving, not to impress her, but because you are genuinely committed to becoming a better person, she will notice. And whether or not she chooses to come back, you will have gained something far more valuable, a stronger, more confident version of yourself. The key is to grow in a way that makes you proud of who you are, whether she returns or not. Because at the end of the day, the person you need to attract the most is yourself. Trust and respect are the foundation of any strong relationship, and when someone pulls away, it often means one or both of these have been weakened. Without trust, there is no emotional safety, and without respect, there is no genuine connection. If she has distanced herself, it's important to recognize that reattraction isn't about persuasion or proving something. It's about rebuilding these fundamental elements. And that starts with actions, not words. Trust isn't given freely, it's earned over time. If she pulled away because she felt unheard, unappreciated, or uncertain about the relationship, then simply telling her things will be different won't be enough. She needs to see consistent actions that demonstrate change. The mistake many people make is trying to convince someone to come back instead of showing them why they should want to. When someone feels that their concerns, boundaries, or needs have been dismissed in the past, they become hesitant to reinvest emotionally. The only way to rebuild that trust is through consistent, patient, and genuine behavior that aligns with their needs, not just once, but over time. Our respect is just as important. This means respecting not just her as a person, but also her decisions, her feelings, and her space. When someone pulls away, it can be tempting to chase after them, to demand explanations, or to try to control the outcome. But nothing destroys respect faster than desperation or pressure. People respect those who respect themselves, and that means handling the situation with dignity. If she has created distance, respect that space. Instead of asking, how can I get her to talk to me again, ask, how can I create an environment where she feels safe and comfortable to reconnect? When people feel truly respected, they become more open to rebuilding trust. Another key aspect of trust and respect is reliability. If there were past patterns of inconsistency, saying one thing and doing another, making promises that weren't kept, or emotional ups and downs, it's important to break those cycles. Consistency creates security, and security leads to deeper emotional connection. When someone knows they can rely on you, not just in the big moments, but in the small, everyday actions, They begin to feel safe again. And emotional safety is what allows attraction to flourish. One of the most overlooked aspects of rebuilding trust and respect is honesty, not just with the other person, but with yourself. Are you truly willing to make changes? Are you ready to show up differently in the relationship, not just temporarily, but as a long-term commitment to growth? Reattracting someone isn't about playing a role or pretending to be something you're not. It's about genuinely embodying the qualities that create strong, healthy relationships. And those qualities, trustworthiness, respect, consistency, are what truly makes someone want to stay. At the end of the day, reattraction is not about convincing someone to give you another chance. It's about becoming the kind of person with whom trust and respect come naturally. When that happens, reconnection becomes a choice, not a plea. Communication is the foundation of any relationship, but when someone pulls away, it becomes even more crucial. The way we communicate in these moments can either reopen the door for reconnection or push the other person further away. Many people make the mistake of thinking that communication is just about talking, saying the right things, explaining themselves, or trying to convince the other person to return. But true communication is not about speaking, it's about understanding. If she has pulled away, it's likely because something in the way the relationship was communicated, whether through words, actions, or energy, didn't align with what she needed. Instead of focusing on what to say to get her back, the real question is, what does she need to feel heard, valued, and understood? One of the most powerful ways to communicate is through listening. This doesn't just mean waiting for your turn to speak or thinking about what you're going to say next. It means truly absorbing what the other person is expressing, both verbally and non-verbally. When someone pulls away, they may not always openly express why, but their actions, tone, and body language often tell a deeper story. If we are only focused on our own emotions, we may miss these crucial signals. When the opportunity for communication does arise, it's important to listen with curiosity rather than defensiveness. Instead of reacting with frustration or fear, ask questions that encourage openness. What's been on your mind? How have you been feeling? Is there anything you wish had been different between us? The goal is not to fix everything in one conversation, but to create a space where she feels safe to express herself. The next element of effective communication is emotional control. When emotions run high, it's easy to react impulsively, to send that long text, make that desperate phone call, or push for answers before the other person is ready to give them. But emotional maturity means knowing when to pause. Silence isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes giving space is a form of communication. It sends the message that you respect the other person's need for clarity and time. When the conversation does happen, it's important to remain calm and present. If she expresses frustration or disappointment, resist the urge to defend yourself immediately. A simple phrase like, "I hear you and I understand why you feel that way," can be far more powerful than trying to explain or justify every detail. Another key aspect of communication is clarity and honesty. Avoid games, mixed signals, or vague responses. If you truly care, express that in a straightforward and sincere way, but without pressure or expectation. Instead of saying, "I need you back," shift to something more grounded like, "I value what we had, and I'm open to understanding what you need moving forward." This kind of approach removes pressure and allows the other person to feel like they have a choice rather than an obligation. At its core, reattraction is not about using communication as a tool for persuasion. It's about using it as a bridge to understanding. The more someone feels heard and respected, the more open they are to reconnecting, naturally, without force. Patience and space are two of the most underrated yet powerful elements of reattracting someone who has pulled away. When a person distances themselves, our instinct is often to close that gap as quickly as possible. We want reassurance, clarity, or resolution, and the uncertainty can feel unbearable. But the truth is, rushing the process only creates more resistance. The more we push for answers or try to force reconnection, the more the other person feels overwhelmed and pressured. Real attraction isn't about convincing someone to come back. It's about allowing them the freedom to choose to return on their own. Giving space doesn't mean you don't care. It means you respect their need for distance. If she pulled away, there's a reason, and pushing harder won't change that. Space allows both people to process their emotions, reflect on what they truly want, and decide how they want to move forward. Instead of seeing space as something negative, think of it as an opportunity for clarity. In the silence, she can start to miss the connection, appreciate the good moments, and understand her own feelings better. If she never has the chance to feel that distance, she also won't have the chance to realize if she truly wants to come back. Patience is equally important. Relationships don't heal or rekindle overnight. Even if you're clear on what you want, she may still be uncertain. People move at different emotional speeds, and part of showing respect is allowing her to process things in her own time. The biggest mistake people make when trying to re-attract someone is expecting immediate results. If she doesn't respond right away, or if she's hesitant, that doesn't mean all hope is lost. It simply means she needs time to feel safe and certain in her own decision. The more you try to rush it, the more it feels like pressure rather than genuine connection. Using this time for personal growth is crucial. Instead of waiting anxiously for her return, use the space to work on yourself. Focus on your goals, passions, and emotional well-being. When she sees that you are growing and thriving, not just waiting in limbo, she will naturally feel drawn to that energy. Attraction is about value, and people are drawn to those who bring positive energy into their lives, not those who seem dependent on them for happiness. If she sees that you are handling the situation with confidence, maturity, and self-respect, she will associate you with strength, not desperation. The beauty of patience and space is that they create an environment where real attraction can grow again. When someone feels free to make their own decision without being pressured, guilted, or chased, they are far more likely to return because they truly want to, not because they feel obligated to. The best way to re-attract someone isn't to pull them back. It's to create the kind of presence that makes them want to come closer on their own. And that can only happen when we give them the time and space to choose us freely. At the heart of re-attracting someone who has pulled away is a simple but powerful truth. You cannot force connection. You can only create the conditions where it can naturally return. This journey isn't about chasing, convincing, or proving your worth. It's about understanding why she pulled away, focusing on your own growth, rebuilding trust through actions, communicating with patience and clarity, and ultimately giving her the space and freedom to choose you on her own terms. When we shift our mindset from how do I get her back to how do I become the kind of person she would want to come back to, that's where true re-attraction begins. It's about embodying confidence, emotional maturity, and self-respect. Because the reality is, if you have to beg for someone's presence, it was never truly yours to begin with. But when you become someone who radiates value, strength, and purpose, people are naturally drawn to you. Not just her, but anyone who aligns with your energy. So instead of trying to pull her back, focus on pulling yourself forward. Become better, stronger, and more fulfilled, not just for her, but for yourself. Whether she returns or not, the real victory is that you become the kind of person who never has to chase again. And when you reach that place, trust me, people won't be pulling away. They'll be finding every reason to stay.